Good evening, everybody. System Chalk here with the 148th episode of the House of Light expansion for Book of Hours, playing as the Archaeologist. I just had some dinner and I'm about to belch. Excuse me. Hopefully that didn't get caught up on the mic. Okay, so I kind of held off here just so that we can see what the new season brings. I used to be able to kind of know what the season would be based off of the weather, but in this case we do actually need to wait for the weather to show up and then see the season crossover. So right now it's just the waiting game. I have been... So, you know, every time you try and time Numa, it usually winds up... you know, not disappointing you, but it winds up sort of surprising you. But it is one of the reasons why I haven't used Connie's card, because we still haven't gotten the newspaper, so it's still not guaranteed to be in Numa yet. Alright, still fall. Or autumn. But yeah, so in that case... Again, I probably shouldn't... Like, this is the tricky part, right? Is that if I'm really at the stop clock is right twice a day phase of this, where at some point I'm going to hold off for Numa and it's going to turn out. But clearly that's not now. So what I probably want to do in the meantime, we've got the pear pie, got an onion soup, so magnificent roast potatoes is up next. But we can only do that after the roast beef. So, I have a couple of ideas in terms of how we'll handle this. I'm going to use... Ooh. Hang on. So I don't believe fet counts. That's inconvenient. I wanted to see if I could make... Well, you know what? Health still works. So I'm going to turn the vegetables into stew, make vegetable stew. And then we will marinate the roast beef. Now I still need to make... I still need to get potatoes, but that's not that hard to do. Okay. Roast marinated beef, a dish with edge, forge, grail, heart, and scale. While we do that, I'm going to get some potatoes. These are potatoes. Spectacular. And then I'm also going to go to the sweet bones. Now, with luck, I should be able to... So this is one of the things that I wanted to point out here, is that right now, I haven't given up anything that would prevent me from hosting the salon today. In fact, I believe I could write the invitations and potentially get everybody in without any sort of interruption to the day. And I think I'm going to give that a try, although we don't know who's visiting for the event yet. So I'm going to write the invitations, but I'm not actually going to deliver them yet. So, for starters, let's bring in Peter Ictistus. I should have gotten the typewriter. Now we need Sky to bring him in, but I should be able to accomplish that with a... Sacralamea. Under normal circumstances, I would maybe want to try and read one of these texts, and that's not off the table, but what I want to do before I go too far on that path is I would like to see who the guest is and whether or not we'll actually be hosting the salon. The other thing that I need to do is get drinks, which I don't think should be a problem, but it's still a, you know, it's not guaranteed. So, before we read any books, yeah, let's just keep going. Alright, potatoes. We'll wait for the dripping, so that'll go here. I suppose I could have invited Denzel. Now I just need to post it. Again, we'll wait for the guest before it comes up. So here we need Edge. Anything should do, but Edict's Marshal seems to make sense. Following that, it'll be Coquille, so I'm assuming Grail. Oh, there's our Cater and Hero delivery. Let's open that up. Unwrap, unbox, unleash. So probably resurgences and emergences ought to do the trick. Actually, that may not be enough. Yeah, not enough Grail. So my next best, Great Signs and Great Scars doesn't work because it is Nock, same reason with Trides Mahaira. Interesting, I wonder if I'm short on... I may not be able to do that at this desk. Yeah, it would have been Resurgences and Emergences that would have pulled that through. Okay, before I go too much further, let's do Stanislav. Actually, you know what? It doesn't matter because it'll be Corso next anyway. So I think we can handle that at Ava's desk. If I was doing crafting, it would be wasteful for me to add the Trides Mahaira here, but it's not, you know, we're not doing anything with it, so let's load it up. There's Coquille. Notably, oh right, Corso is Lantern. It's a little bit like Arthur in that. So 30 seconds and we'll be able to find out who's coming up. Alright. I'll see if I can get away with a Lantern. This one, Auroral Contemplations should work. And then Stanislav is the last. So we still won't have the event. We won't know who the guest is until after we've done all the invitations, but I'm feeling lucky. I think if we do surgeries and exsanguinations is Nock. I thought there was a heart. Which one did I think I was going for? This'll work. Clearly not. Oh, that's right. He's Nectar. Alright, there we go. In a pinch, if we, for whatever reason, we don't do the event, what I'll do is I'll, well, one, I should probably tame the Viper. And then maybe we'll deal with the witchworms. All right, sugar. Knew this was going to be a problem. And the flower. All right. I realize I shouldn't be treating like butter storage as a major puzzle, but Okay. So Butter's the real, the one sort of without a home right now. The thing is, they're so easy to overlook. But I think I will just try to train myself to look at the vestibulum transitus. Because if I start spreading these all around the house, I'm not going to remember where they are. If we didn't have so much flour, I could see myself moving, moving some of these, but all right. This works for me for now. Let's wait to see what the timer brings. All right, no salon today. We can obviously like make the various dishes and such, but one of the challenges I'm running into right now is what to do with the sun's weakness. Because to a certain extent, I would like to read the remaining books in the area. So we found Towards a Fundamental Aesthetic, 2nd edition. We haven't read the Serpent Root yet. This one gives us... Oh, this is funny, actually, Sights and Sensations. So this kind of counts as a free book. I guess so with the Serpent Root. So it'd be nice if I had plans for what I would do with the, with the material that comes out of it. Looking at my options here, Grail, Lantern, and Moth. Doesn't really help me reading any of these. My next bet... So I guess there's a couple things that I would try and do with it. Either one, try and open up a new part of the house. Actually, the Orchard Keeper might be amenable. As I used to say in my youth, the day is done and so am I, but I've earned my pay. It is autumn when the leaves rustle. The silent landlady has served me apple pie with steamed cream in the window nook. Wait a minute, I was supposed to... I was supposed to hire someone. Alright, that's fine. We're not exactly in a rush. No, that's not bridge beef. And then we've got the vegetable stew. So this time we're sort of free in terms of how we can use our various elements of the soul, so this will be going straight into the next meal. Roast potatoes magnificently, a dish with edge, forge, grail, and heart. Alright. So we are good as far as the salon's concerned. Sorry, we're good as far as the food for the salon's concerned. Maybe now is the time for us to work out a few other... Well, actually, there's a couple things that I'll think about. So witching to Sane is an obvious answer. I'll maybe make a second one. We also seem to have another half pot of TRN drinking cocoa. So here's what we'll do, actually. Just so I can make it look like a little bit more of a feast, we'll put the tea down here. And then we'll put the cocoa as a pot here. Now, edge, I think we can only satisfy with the second flush Assam. too far. Okay, so we've got 2 Grail, we've got an Edge, and now we need 2 Heart, if I recall correctly, for drinks. Now, water is usually enough there. Pour out. Maybe at this point we'll use the core at the Hush House well. Yeah, and that'll cover us for the salon. All right, so let's... I'm going to run with just a quick trial in terms of how things might work with the Orchard Keeper. So if we use the Newman, that gets us 5, so that starts us off with 6. I can't remember if the if it's 1 Grail or 2. We'll find out reasonably soon. I'm pretty sure it's 1 Grail, if that. Then we use the Arab, which will give us 2, so that brings it up to 8. So effectively, we're looking for another 6. Now, the easy answer for that would actually be to try and make a Sacrament Callicite. In order to make that, we use the Ruby-Wise Ruin. Of course, the other option here would be that we we use the Ruby-Wise Ruin and then some other combination. So for instance, we've got the Momets, which we haven't really been making use of. Okay, here's what I think I'm going to do. Let's start with a tool. So just for the sake of argument, I'm going to say we'll use the good old-fashioned spice scales. And then from there, I guess the question is, how much Grail can I grant based off of food and drink alone? Sorry, just give me a second here. All right. So if we're looking for Grail, so fudge, if I really want, I can take creamed sugar and turn that into fudge, which will give me 3. King's Luck pie, blackberry jam, sponge cake, toffee pudding, fragrant chalice tea, apple meringue, baked pear meringue, floating island, walls of ease. Okay. So the funny thing is, if I actually go for the I can go for a fudge witching Tisane combo, and I think that covers it. So maybe we'll see. Let's see if we can get the. Let's see if we can get the. Actually, there's one other thing that I want to test. No, that's not going to work, actually. Let's go here. I want to see how many Sacrament Callicites I can make. No, that's the wrong one. Although... thought so. Alright. So we're just going to take all of the Grail stuff, and we'll see... Yeah, lots of Sacrament Callicite, but the Ruby-Wise Ruin... Like, the thing is, if I can't make the Ruby-Wise Ruin, it doesn't matter that I can take it up to that higher level. That's got to be a heart recipe then, or something like that. I refuse to believe that the sacrament, or that the Ruby Wise Ruin is that hard to make. Oops. All right. Given the limitations we have, that doesn't give me heart. That doesn't give me heart. Do I really want to wait the 1 minute? Let's make do. Where's my big heart coming from? Dear. I'm actually coming up short on some of this stuff. Oh, hang on. I'm pretty sure Ruby Wise Ruin actually required some kind of flower. That's almost certainly what I got wrong. Okay, sorry, I realize I'm experimenting with crafting instead of running through the day, but if I can kick this thing, it would be... And I don't think it needs a specific flower, but let's try and go with something with more grail. So Fragrant Chalice, if we have it. You know what? Any one of these will do. And just to tilt the odds in my favor, let's just put the Sacrament Calcite in there as well. And a Newman for good measure. I'm gonna go crazy if this doesn't produce a... There it is! Ruby Wise Ruin. Don't know why I thought that would work. That I wasn't expecting. Well, then again, it is the Apple Bright, so... That I definitely was expecting. Alright, good enough for me. So, what do I do with this information? Well, any old flower will do at this point. Well, sorry, not entirely true. I need to make sure that I still meet the requirements. But can I put a flower in here? Yes, I can. What is abundant this time of year? Okay, Fragrant Chalice counts. So we're gonna work with these, making sure, of course, that we don't give up the Leaves and Thorns and Orchids and Narcotics. So I'm gonna focus on the Fragrant Chalice for the simple reason that this is my chance to make more of it. So I want to try and get a little bit of a pipeline going in terms of... Now that's all well and good for me to say I'm going to do it that way, but I actually need something that takes Grail. Alright. Where did I put... I've turned this place into a greenhouse, but I don't remember where I put the Fragrant Chalice. I refuse to believe that there's only one of those. And of course, I don't need to make the fudge now, which is another small bonus. And let's try to use Mahaira. I guess I need to add the Arab here. I feel slightly bad about it, but actually, yeah, we're only at 15. I'll live with it. Oh, no, I need to restore and... or maybe not. Pour it out. And there he is. All right. We've got some time, so I will I'll interact with Father John. I mean, the other thing I could have done, of course, would be to send out all the invitations and just invite Father Stanislav John Schaller back, you know, another time. But I don't think that's... I don't really need... That's not like a major priority. But let's take a minute and think about how the rest of the day is going to work. Still waiting on the sweet bones. I am going to take the opportunity to feed the wild viper. Don't make any sudden moves. It's a little silly that I waited for Father John just to not talk to him, but feed the beastie, satisfy this creature's appetite. Okay. Now, assuming that I can get the Orchard Keeper to the level that I need, which is something of a big if, one of the things that I'm trying to do right now is figure out which Newman text is most appropriate. So what I'm basically trying to do here is say, all right, I want to read some books. I don't necessarily know what I'm going to be getting over the course of the day. Or sorry, not over the course of the day, over the course of the salon. But I know that we're going to want to read these books sooner than others because they wind up giving us very powerful memories that are quite useful. So, and I suppose there's a reasonable question about, you know, do I really want Towards a Fundamental Aesthetic first, or do I want the Serpent Root first? I'm sure there are very clever answers to both of those, but I'm just not ready to contemplate them yet. The trick, of course, is that I need to apply the Sun's Weakness before the 2 minutes for the lesson are done. So actually, you know what? Here's what we'll do. Let's say that I'm going to get Sights and Sensations, because that one's unambiguous in terms of the fact that we're as high as we can go with that. So the question now would be, what is the next sky or winter that I need to bring up? And some of these are not... Well, actually, Glaciering Lightsmithing was one that I wanted to move up. So I think I got my answer there. So we'll take the Whist. We will read Towards a Fundamental Aesthetic, 2nd edition. That, of course, we need to add Erica Pan for, which already gives us some winter, which is kind of nice. And then Sights and Sensations. So we're actually 2 higher than we need to be on that, but what other element of the soul I'm going to apply, right? So, winter, a conclusion. I can master this mystery. So again, the challenge here is that we've got all of these wonderful books, but we don't necessarily know which one we want to apply. We don't necessarily know which one of these is going to give us the... we don't know what the Salon's going to give us in terms of memories, so we don't necessarily know which of these are going to become the most important. What I'm going to do here, I need Edge... Or actually, I need winter, technically. I wonder. I need 5 winter, but yeah, it doesn't come from the Sun's Week. See, I'm probably going to get the winter from the Cosley book, but... let's find that. I wish I remembered which of these. Okay, Stitching and Binding, but we don't have Heart. You're kidding. No, this will work. All right, Quell the Witchworm Contamination. The softest penumbra of the Madrigal's light invoked care. Sorry, let's read what witchworms are. Tiny larvae with half-human faces. Fortunately, they rarely develop into their imago stage, but even as larvae, their whispering can torment senses and distort thoughts. The softest penumbra of the Madrigal's light, invoked carefully through the white flower of the watchman's tree, drives witchworms to twitching death. All right, to get that out of my mind, we will make war. I need a memory for that. All right, the sun it is. Recall a forgotten crime of moon and winter. So we've got another book that we're reading. I guess the logical step here would be to try and amass the memories required to bring up Glaciering Lightsmithing. I don't know, we've used up a few desks, but nothing we can't handle. So, of course, the obvious answer would be to... maybe not so obvious. So we will read Vero's opera again. I think I would rather try and generate some of the music. Alright, so there's the beguiling melody. What else can I get? Got the wistful air. I guess it would be the savage hymn from Drums and Dances. Well, we're already getting the cheerful ditty. But yeah, okay, let's, that's at least some basics to work with. So, Sabazine. I think that should be the music taken care of. Now we'll move on to... So I'm trying to avoid using the core in this case just because that'll give me opportunities for gardening and other useful fragrant chalice generation. Okay, Savage Hymn, Cheerful Ditty's already taken care of. Again, we're looking for Lantern and Sky, so Foresight helps us. Which of these did I think we did Journal of Walter de Wolf. I don't remember if I feel like I did Book of Cinters. I don't know if I did the Iron Book, so let's run with that. Impulses don't help me, but the Confounding Parable will. This is really just kind of generate whatever I can mode. Did we do the Devoured Tantra? And one more so we can use the metal in this case. So definitely we're leaving a lot of memories on the table, but we'll work through them pretty quickly, I think. Actually, the Storm will do. Alright, Patterns doesn't help me. Regrets doesn't help me. I completely forgot that we had this as an option. I also believe I can level up Sea Stories. So, would have followed up on that had I been thinking. It's a little late now, though. I'm trying to recall... I'm going to do Gospel of Nicodemus because we haven't read that as often. Alright, I think that's it for the remaining desks. I could technically use the consider verb, I suppose. In fact, that sounds like a good idea. I'm going to try Rose of Hypatia, but I think I've read that recently. Okay, so the whole point of this is just to kind of cue me up with a whole bunch of memories that I'll apply towards leveling up Glacierian Lightsmith. I'm pretty sure it's Glacierian Lightsmithing. I'll maybe double check that at the start of the next episode. But what this is largely about is positioning myself for a case where we have gotten the lessons from reading towards a fundamental aesthetic second edition, and then we'll use that to... well, I don't really know what I'll use the Newman for. That's really about discovering what the Newman is. But the hope here is... Oh. Yeah, no, we're fine. So yeah, we'll use the existing Sun's weaknesses to elevate the Orchard Keeper, and then we'll use that to open up another part of the house. And then the hope here is that we'll find some other purposes for the elements of the soul, just so we don't lose the day, given that we had a visitor who we're planning on inviting back. All right. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care.